The statistics are clear. Boys from African and Caribbean heritage start school at average academic levels. But by the end of year 2, they're beginning to fall behind. In year 6, only 50% of black boys achieve level 4 in English, compared with 70% of all children. The gap widens through secondary school. Only 30% achieve 5 good GCSEs. The national average is 54%. In this film, we'll find out what's going wrong and see how 3 London schools have each found their own solutions.
And I was just going to prepare us for a session.
A primary in Hackney is starting early, teaching boys some crucial but basic behaviour skills. A secondary in Brent has been employing a high number of black teachers for more than 20 years. And a boys' school in South London is making it cool to learn.
I love it. I love studying.
Colvestone is trying to get to grips with disaffection early.
We've got 2 strawberries and 1 vanilla.
At the moment, the school's concerned about a group of black boys in year 6 who aren't achieving the targets teachers are expecting of them. To help find out what's going wrong, the boys have been closely observed in class.
They're fiddling with elastic bands, they're sucking their thumbs, gazing out of the window, they're looking at each other, they're sort of physically pushing on each other and that kind of thing. All these sorts of things are distracting behaviours. They're taking the child's attention.
But aren't these behaviours that lots of boys in year 6 exhibit?
Yeah, there are behaviours that lots of boys in year 6 exhibit. It's true. However, for this particular group of young men in Hackney at this moment in time, it's not just about the behaviours that they're exhibiting in class. We're looking at, if you like, at the whole child and what their learning needs are. We're going to begin today with just a little bit of breathing and meditation, okay? I want you to stand just quickly.
The 9 boys are with Mike, a former teacher who now works as a consultant for the local education authority. The aim is to encourage them to think about the consequences of their behaviour. It's their 3rd session.
This week, I've heard that the focus has been better. But I want to know from you how you know that the focus has been better in class on learning. How do you know that?
Because sometimes if I see a pencil on the carpet, yeah, I pick it up and fidget with it. But now, if I see a pencil on the carpet, I just leave it alone.
Right, so that's one way that we can less fidgeting. Okay, very good.
I've learned, like, not to play with elastic bands in class or set my form or mess about. I should just listen to the teacher, because if I don't listen to the teacher and it's time to do your work, you won't have an idea what to do.
Okay.
Some time ago, Mena found that he was, like, pretty strong, and then he started, like, picking fights with people. But now I see that he tells the teachers more, he talks to people more and stuff. Just like we agree.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's very good, yes.
Mike and his colleagues in Hackney believe this early intervention at Key Stage 2 is crucial, before the boys arrive in secondary school and are set in their ways.
I think the statistics show that somewhere between Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, there begins to be a dip in the children's achievements. I suspect that one needs to go as far back as year 3, really, and capture children at that point if you want to sustain the achievement.
As a group, yeah, I've tried to come to school. Normally, in the weeks, I wouldn't come on a Monday. Like, even though I came half day today, I still would attempt to come on a Monday and try and come through at the
Addressing behaviour is just the first step. Mike believes these black boys' lack of concentration is part of a bigger picture.
The truth is that for young black men at the moment in this society, there are a number of things that have fallen by the wayside. There's less community cohesion amongst our black communities nowadays. More of our children are more distanced from older men who are able to impart the wisdom of the community. And I suppose that with the young men only really relating to each other as peers and not relating to older people, their ability to see beyond themselves, to see the sort of potential that they might have of what life might really be like for them in terms of talking with older men, etc. That doesn't happen. So the idea is that working as men, them and Milton, or them and me, or perhaps them and other men in their lives, can begin to, I suppose, develop some glue that will, that will enable them to see the vision for their lives and be able to develop a sort of a perspective on self-growth and what they might be like and how to realize those things. We're going to focus on how we can be strong in our purpose. Remember what we were saying? We were saying that every time we do something positive in our lessons, positive in our class, it's like kind of saving up for the future.
Mike is using the lyrics of a reggae song to provoke a discussion about values.
I'm just going to look at the first bit that says chorus. The chorus says, nobody want to plant the corn, everybody want to raid the barn. Now, what do you think that might mean?
It means that no one wants to do the work, they just want to take what comes out.
Take over.
Take what happens.
I think it means, everybody don't want to do no work, but they want to take over something. They want to take over. Take an easy ride. Take an easy ride when it's finished.
Using the song is in keeping with the school's philosophy of celebrating black culture.
I want all the children at Colvestone to feel that this is their school, and in terms of their identity, I want them to feel comfortable with whosoever they happen to be. And in terms of the black children, I believe that the children are black British children who come from a rich and diverse cultural heritage. I think you're more likely to succeed if you're comfortable with who you are. So we try to grab every opportunity we can to acknowledge those differences in a positive way and to celebrate it as much as we possibly can.
But let's offer each other a sign of peace and friendship. Okay. They can do things together. We don't have to embrace that culture that comes through the media from the US, essentially, from the black urban male, which is one where the bling lifestyle rules. It's sort of one over the other, and I'm the best, better than you. There are other values, and the kinds of values that were promoted within the Caribbean in the 70s and later as well, are values of collectivity and how we might do things together, how we might work together and have a sense of self-worth and self-dignity, which comes from our own roots and not the roots of another culture that are being imposed on us.
By the time the children reach secondary school, challenging this bling lifestyle is even more difficult. Copland has 2,000 students. A third are of African Caribbean heritage.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bell, come on, lesson 5 is about to begin.
Sir Alan Davies has been head for 16 years. He believes employing black teachers makes a huge difference.
So much depends on the quality of the teacher, the ability of the teacher to deliver the curriculum. But once you've got a teacher who can deliver the curriculum, pupils relate more to a high-achieving teacher from the same ethnic group, the same ethnic background, and it provides a role model for the student to aspire to. Students are looking for role models.
We are going to give each of the different beakers the same amount of energy.
Frank Sampong joined the school 18 years ago. His background is African-Irish. 45% of teaching staff here are from an ethnic minority. That's more than 6 times the London average.
I think one of the things I'm fortunate, being from an ethnic minority, is I've got high expectations for them as well. I've done it. I've got to my level in education, and therefore I can have, there's no reason why they can't look at me and say, well, I can do that. I see the kids outside, and a number of our pupils will, drop their waistbands so the crotch of their trousers is way down. They walk with a strut, hat and hood, but I know that they're not negative characters. How are we going to measure it more accurately?
That's what we've done.
That's been measured with the... Oh, good boy. Well done.
But is the colour of a teacher more important than the quality of their teaching?
Having good black teachers makes all the difference in the world. Having poor black teachers could make a negative impact, could have a negative impact on children. But a good black teacher can empathise possibly with these children in a way that a white teacher may not be able to, simply coming from the very same experience, being able to understand the cultural issues that the children experience.
Is that 1,000?
Yeah. No, that's 500.
So they're all 26.
They've all started at the same temperature. Well, you're lucky. I went to school in Brent. I grew up in Brent. I also, as luck would have it, went to a school where most people were expected to progress, and it was just the norm. And I think one of the things that is failing our pupils is that their parents went to school at the same time and didn't have those opportunities, didn't have the expectations, and therefore many have grown up without having the expectations for their children. They want them to do well, and they want them to go to university at times, but quite often that's not a natural progression as it is in many middle-class white families.
Copland has been trying to address a lack of educational support at home. Staff identified a group of African Caribbean boys in Year 10 who ought to be achieving higher grades, and their parents were called in for one-to-one meetings.
The senior leadership team invited the parents to come in with their child to say, look, this is the situation. We've got a number of strategies that we can put in place to support. So we offered Saturday school, we offered summer school, we offered monitoring and mentoring systems. We offered access to online internet learning as well. And we showed the parents how they could access that and how they could support at home. We had an evening when we had coursework, and we said, right, this is what a good piece of coursework looks like. If you want to help your child, this is what they should be looking for. Because many of the parents said things had changed since they were at school, and they didn't actually really know what it was that they were trying to achieve. So those very practical things worked very well, in fact.
At the same time, Copland began to encourage black parents to become more involved in school life.
There's a range of things that we've been doing here in terms of initiatives and trying to help the parents help their children, which I think is as important. And it's been part of this partnership thing that we don't think it's just down to the school to help our children and help our boys. Because at the end of the day, if we as a community don't help, then who else is going to do it?
The school has educated us as parents also. Yeah. One good thing I remember they did was they took us in the IT room and they showed us where we could find websites of courseworks, things we could do at home to get the children learning. And I think that's benefited as well.
Yeah. I mean, one of the other good things I wanted to say was in terms of communicating good things. And one of the initiatives there at Copland was the texting, messaging service to parents. So we use that to tell parents if children are doing really well. And that has gone down reasonably well. When we've looked at that in the focus groups, that's gone down quite well in terms of giving good news. It's the positive strokes as well as just the negatives. We need you to come in and talk to us about things.
There's a gentleman I know who was talking about his son, and he'd come home in the evening. Have you done your homework? And the son would say no. So go and do your homework. And the son would go by the table, and he'll be miserable and he'll be struggling through. While the dad sits in front of the television, relaxed, flicking through the channel. Then he realized, he looked across and he saw how miserable his son was, and he got up and started helping him and started to interact. And his child just changed, his whole learning thing changed, and he was more involved because his dad was there helping him through.
What the parents have noticed is that the students who are doing best are those from Asian families.
What are they doing that we're probably not doing? Because our children attend the same schools. So we can't say it's the school's fault because Asians are doing so well, yet Afro-Caribbean children are not doing as good as they are doing, and they are attending the same school. So there's something happening at home that probably we need to investigate. And I think that's where probably the answer is.
So maybe look at the whole culture,
That's
look
right.
at the bigger picture of how it works.
Yeah.
And, you know, in terms of a lot of the Asian families have a better support network at home in terms of the kids. You know, I know my daughter's got a friend in her class, and the parent actually tutors for the other kids 1 day a week. She's not a qualified teacher, but they get the books and they sit them down. What we are trying to do is good, and it is getting better. It will just take time. The support network is coming into place. We are starting to support each other.
The message is parents should get involved with the school and with their sons or daughters. And if you develop that sort of relationship, it will work.
But has this strategy of targeting parents produced results?
We've just analysed our achievement data in Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4, and still the Asian Indian children are achieving the highest results at Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. But through checking carefully on the Caribbean students and the African students, their trends are getting better. They're not as high as they should be, but we're going in the right direction.
At Colvestone, teachers have also found that communicating practical skills to black parents works.
I'm a keen believer in demystifying learning as much as I possibly can. So I take every opportunity I can when I meet with parents to try and make sure we're speaking about the same language. If someone isn't doing well at in reading, what can you do? Where is it we want to take them on? Simplifying it. We feel that actually works.
I do think the black community needs to take responsibility. We need to put up our hands and say, you know, these are our children, we need to own them, we need to make some sacrifices for them in order to shepherd them in the right way.
Forest Hill has tried a different approach. Instead of targeting individuals, they've developed a project for all black boys to improve their learning, thinking and communication skills. From Year 7 through to Year 11, they're taught separately for one lesson a week.
We wanted entitlement. It was very important for us that we weren't just doing targeted interventions, because we wanted it to go to all students. So there was a big debate, should we give 20 students a lot of it, or should we give all of the students a little bit? And we decided that we would go with entitlement. And I suppose that makes the project quite unique, because we give it to everybody. And I feel that that has been successful because it stops the others, it stops the rest of them thinking that there's something wrong with me. Do you know anyone in your life who you might think is a successful person? Courtney?
My uncle.
Your uncle, why?
Because he done well in school and university.
Okay.
The aim of this Year 7 lesson is to get the boys to think long-term about where they're going in life and what skills they'll need to get there.
Okay, Reese.
My brothers. Both my brothers done well in school, and one wants to be an architect and another one wants to be a physiotherapist.
Okay. David?
My brother he's still going to college, but my brother played football for Chelsea and the reserves as well, and he just still learns as well. He goes back and forwards.
What about you, Bruno?
My mum.
Okay, tell us about your mum.
Because as soon as she came to this country, yeah, she started to study, and now she's a hairdresser. So,
what does success mean to you when you hear the word? What does it mean for you? What does it suggest to you?
What does it suggest to me? So I must I must pass and everything to success.
So you see success as something that you have to have qualifications for?
Yeah.
What do successful people, what are they like? What qualities do they have to be successful? Aaron? Haven't heard from you, Stephen? Yes, Ramel. They had to have good grades, okay? They had to have good grades.
You have to, like, achieve the thing.
Good. Success for you means achievement.
You achieve to get, like, better jobs and, like, more important than, like, just normal shops, like a street shop.
Okay. Don't tell.
I was going to say choices. Choices you have to make.
Tell me about the choices.
Like,
Tell me about the choices you're going to make.
Say, for instance, a young black Caribbean, and he's got his friends and he's really bad. Like, he has to make a choice whether he wants to become someone in life or, like, just be ghetto on the street with his friends.
Absolutely. It's about giving them the confidence and the self-esteem to feel proud of themselves. It's also about giving them that knowledge that they need to have, the knowledge base, in order to understand themselves. As you know, Malcolm X says, if you don't know your history, you don't know where you come from, and you don't really know where you're going. I think it's absolutely important for them to become more powerful. And my role, I see it, is to make them more powerful within the institution. Rather than have things acted out on them, they become the people who take charge and actually understand why they're here.
The project is called ACE, Achievement, Commitment and Excellence. Higher up the school, it focuses on practical learning skills. These Year 11 boys say it's helped them a lot.
It's given me lots of revision techniques, and it's helped me along the way to think about further education and what I want to do in my life.
Black people were like associated with negativity towards school and crime maybe out of school, but like here we can come and join together and discuss those stuff openly.
I want to prove the statistic wrong about how black people are underachieving and they're not succeeding with with education, and they just like drop out of school and go on the roads and just roam about and commit crime. So I reckon it made me want to achieve higher grades and be successful in the future.
Aaron's future has been transformed by the ACE project. He's now studying A-levels at Forest Hill, but his early school career was disastrous.
I'd come from a centre because I was kicked out of my previous secondary school, and I had thought studying was just coming to school was just a thing that I had to do. I didn't particularly enjoy it at the time. Also, because I had come kicked out from my previous school and I'd come here, I just assumed that the teachers didn't like me at all, and that didn't give me any motivation to study harder. And then I was hanging around with the wrong people. That was in the same situation as me, basically. Teachers didn't like them, they was really bad, and they wasn't focused on study at all. So studying just wasn't my thing. Now, I love it. I love studying. I'm dedicated to it. It drives me because I know at the end of it, I'm going to get something out of it. Also, it kind of makes me different. I feel that it makes me different to a lot of other young black males in the sense that I'm staying in, I'm doing A-levels, and I'm striving to go to university. And I like that.
When we talk about icons, I'd say people like Nelson Mandela.
As part of the project, older boys like Aaron come and talk to the younger ones and act as mentors.
White people. Next week, Daniel Aziz is going to come in. He's going to come in and talk to you about himself, about his studies, about himself as a pupil in this school.
Copland has also used older boys as role models, inviting them to parents' evenings.
You know, the young boy that came to say he's gone off to Cambridge was dressed as a normal young boy. Yeah. When he came up, I thought, who is that young boy going up there? But do you know what I mean? That's perception, you know, and that was incorrect on my part. I was like, ooh. And then when he said he's at Cambridge, I thought, do you know what? This boy should go around and speak to all those young boys in latest Timberlands or the latest jeans down here, because you can still look cool and be educated, you know.
Who I used to hang around with, I don't hang around with them at all now because I'm just on a different level to them, in the sense that they want to do drugs and stuff like that. I'm not interested in that. I understand the importance of study. I understand what is needed of me. I understand that I need to conform, basically, to do well. I have to conform. But it's not like it's a burden that, you have to do it. It's more that I enjoy doing it, so I can do it. But I do understand that I need to conform. I do understand I need to respect teachers. I do understand that I need to have a good relationship with teachers. And all of that, I would say, I've learnt through the ACE project.
In this film, we've looked at how 3 different schools have each found their own solutions to help black boys to achieve. At Colvestone, early intervention improves behaviour and encourages boys to begin to think about their own futures.
We've got our 3 beakers.
At Copland, black teachers do make a difference, but the key is also persuading black parents to become more involved. At Forest Hill, all boys benefit from a space of their own in which they can talk freely. None of these is an ad hoc initiative. They're all the result of leadership and planning.
What is required in schools to raise achievement of any group, but I would argue with particular reference to black pupils, and in particular black boys, is that it requires, first of all, a whole school approach, where the head teacher is actually committed to changing the situation for these pupils in the school. And it has the courage and conviction to take the whole school along with her or him. Secondly, it requires proper planning. It cannot just be done. A lot of people argue it's all about good teaching and learning. Well, I would argue that boys get good teaching and learning, but boys are underachieving. It requires good teaching and learning and more. But in order to know what the and more is and to be able to carry it through, you need to plan, you need to be focused, you need to do it whole school.
But the 3 projects all have something else in common. They're trying to instill self-confidence and help each boy to find his own vision for the future.